Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, we hear throughout the community and in social media about this a charitable organization that you started several years ago called Music for the Mission. Can you talk a little bit about how people can get involved with it and why you're involved, why you started it?
Sure, Angela. That's one of those things that, somebody who has both lived here and had family involved with it, is that any of us are one step away from homelessness and hunger. And so after experiencing it and seeing it with potential clients, with family, it's something that was close to my heart. So we set up to use music as a means of helping the homeless and the hungry in our communities.
So you raise money and donate it to different organizations that can do that for you.
Yes, and it's fabulous, the response we've gotten from the music community, and it's great, and it's just a wonderful way to have a good time and help out. And believe me, if we could use all the volunteers we can get, you can go to the musicforthemission.org and check us out or call. We'll welcome anyone who wants to help out the homeless and the hungry and enjoy doing it in the process, because we really do enjoy it. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law Offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, when we talk about Joe Knows, you have a varied background. You have degrees in geology, you've studied medicine, you really do know a great deal, and yet you chose law. And lawyers are not exactly the most loved breed of folks, and you go and you love what you do every day because you have purpose. Talk a little bit about that. Why did you choose law over everything else?
Well, Angela, it's one of those things, is that when you're young and foolish, so to speak, you really don't have, at least I didn't have a good idea of what I was suited for. And I came into the law business using it, I thought, to actually be an advocate for the environment. And then I found out that helping people was much more important than helping the environment. So I ended up doing what I have been doing now for some 30-some odd years, and it has proved to be a good choice. I enjoy it most of the time, and I hope that my clients are happy with what we do, because we try to do the very best for them. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law Offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, in almost every ad that folks out there see that involves you, we talk about the big bad insurance companies. Are they really that bad, and is it really their MO to make it as difficult as possible?
Well, the short answer to that is yes. And, if I was in their shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing. They are a business, and their business is to make profit, and they make profit by paying out as little as possible.
It's just an equation.
Well, and again, I don't know that anybody should be surprised about that. And so they have their certain rules, and they have their policies and procedures on how they're going to try to implement that to make money. And so people who get injured, people who are making claims against them, are their adversaries. They're not there to help you, because that's just not the way it works. And so we understand that how this whole thing works, and we help our clients try to navigate this process and try to present the best foot forward so that they get what they deserve. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law Offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, if you're injured, whether it's on a construction site or a car accident, on the job somehow, how do you know if you have a case? How do you know if you should call?
Well, Angela, that's a knowing and figuring it out, I guess, are two different things, because I think an ounce of prevention is always worth a pound of cure. And if you have any kind of substantial injury where you're going to suffer either a medical or a wage loss, you need to investigate the circumstances of your injury to protect you and your family. And so it's not really about whether you have a case, it's really what are your rights, what do I need to do to protect myself, how do I go forward, because there isn't anybody tripping over their feet to come to you with assistance. And so if you're in a situation where you have any kind of significant medical or wage loss resulting of any kind of an event, you should talk to a lawyer. That's what we do. We give free advice. It's free. You get to talk, and you will then figure out what your rights are and what you can do. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law Offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, in the case of a bad accident, any kind of accident that you want to investigate what your rights are and how to protect yourself, timing is critical. We've talked about this in the past. There's this term statute of limitations that's tossed around. Can you talk a little bit about it? What is it and why is timing so important?
Well, statute of limitations is legally is the outside limit that you have to do something. But in terms of if you are in a situation in which you've had an accident that requires investigation and documentation, waiting until the statute of limitations is a bad idea. Time is its own limiting factor, and there are time to find witnesses, time to get evidence, time to get any documents are restricted as time passes, and that you might find that by the time the statute of limitations, which is 3 years for most cases in New York, is way too long of a period of time to wait to adequately move your case forward. And there are some limitation periods that are even much shorter than that. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law Offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law Offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Hi, Joe. With technology, social media, internet, it's all great. With those great advances sometimes comes the downside. Identity theft, for example. What does someone need to know to protect themselves? And if they think their identity has been stolen, what do they do next?
Well, it's a strange world in terms of technology and protecting yourself. I mean, I have a credit card that it seems that every week they're telling me that I have to call them because they're afraid that it's being used fraudulently. So, you know, you have to protect yourself to the best you can. You know, they have these services that you can do, check your credit reports, but you really need to check your bills. Be careful what sites you're going to, because if you get yourself in an identity theft situation, you need to contact the police immediately. You need to contact everybody who has anything to do with your credit, and it can be a horrific horror show. And the legal remedies are very limited because the people who did it, odds are you're never going to get to them, never going to find them, and you're going to be stuck with a bad situation. If If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you. Hi, I'm Joe Stanley from the Stanley Law offices. No one knows what's just around the corner, but you do need to know what to do next. The next few minutes will give you some answers.
Joe, it's understandable when seriously injured clients come to you, they want to be heard. They want justice. They want you to be their voice. They want to have a voice. But not all cases go to trial. Some do. What are the circumstances that determine that?
Well, Angela, that's a fairly complex question. There's a simple part and then there's a complicated part. Simple part is there are some insurance companies, that's their MO, they won't pay until the case goes to trial, or they won't pay at all because that's the profit motive and
Deny and that's it.
well, and it's are unreasonable, and we know who they are, and then you deal with them accordingly. Then the other group of cases are there isn't a resolution because we can't agree to the basic principles of liability and or damages, and that only a jury, or at least the threat of a jury, is going to at least bring the parties closer together and may never bring them close enough and such that the only resolution would be a jury verdict. And so that's a much larger group, and those are, and some of that is also governed by the amount of insurance. So that's really how that works. If you have any more questions, call the Stanley Law offices or visit our website. We'll be there for you.